black exploitation era, like when you saw like Dolomite and these guys with white women, and then they're like, oh, this is a thing we could do, and Jim Brown laid a couple down. You remember that time?
Yeah, but I'm
you
saying
old.
it was heavy dating of black. It was black on black dating all through the 80s.
Well,
Yeah,
it depends,
like
where, you,
white
it
was
depends
like-
where you live, though, because like you're from the West
true.
Coast, so like on the East Coast, that wasn't like I remember growing up and I saw like a child with biracial, like most biracial parents. It was like not biracial, but interracial parents.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, oh,
It was surprising. It was
Yeah.
actually like almost positive. It's like a mark of integration at that moment. At that time, it was like,
well, I
wow,
wasn't-
this is possible.
I wasn't that
And
deep in
there's so
elementary
many
school, but it
angles.
was definitely something that was just like, oh.
But now it's so common that it's like, wait a minute. Now it's like, wait a minute, what's going on? Before it was like, oh, this is great. Race is coming together. Now
Where's
it's
your
like, oh,
white
this
girl?
is too
Where's
much.
your white girl at now?
Well, I
Yeah.
think Tommy was making
my
a
car,
couple
my dog,
points.
Tommy, are you still there?
Oh, Tommy.
Oh yeah, I'm still
All
here.
right, all right.
Okay, we'd love for you to finish making your points.
Well, to incorporate what you guys were just saying about the interracial couples,
Yeah.
you know, my dad is white. My dad is white. He was the only white dude in the project,
Okay.
but still,
Your
I
dad,
learned how
your
to
dad can
treat.
fight.
I learned how to treat
You know it.
a black woman
And where'd you learn that from?
from my father.
I see.
Okay.
And actually, you know, my uncles, I mean, every family has breakups and divorces, but a lot of the bonds in my family are still going.
So do
and,
you
and
think?
kids don't, young men don't have that anymore. I mean, you even back in the day, you can, if you didn't have somebody to look up to as far as relationships, you can listen to a song and get a good idea of
Okay,
how it's
true.
supposed to go.
Yeah.
So are you saying
Not
this
anymore.
the father husband individual in the household and in the community is no longer there wherever you look, or just in black situations, or what?
I mean, more so in black situations.
And you think that's the root of black men liking white women as opposed to black women?
Or not knowing how to treat black women.
Not knowing how to
Well,
so is there a different way to
not
do
knowing how to
different
treat
races
women
of
in general.
women are not a female lion like a black woman is.
You said a female lion?
Who's not?
A female lion.
Are you saying a white woman is not a female lion like a black woman?
No,
Oh, I thought that's
a
what you
black
said.
woman really can do it all by herself and will if she has to.
Explain that further. What do you mean by that?
A lot of guys, they go through a whole show and song and dance and say, boom, I got this woman. But in actuality, the woman got you.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's just the way it is in actuality. So the black man just doesn't know how to, approach and boss up to let a woman know that she can be, I don't want to say subservient, but she can be
Submissive.
a woman that can have your back. She wants you to take the lead, but not because she has to have you take the lead.
Now see,
You feel what
okay,
I'm saying?
all right. Now, I got a different perspective on why black men date white women. I don't think it's because black men don't know how to handle black women.
No,
That's what it
I
is?
actually think it kind of leads into the subject of the angry black woman syndrome and what black men have recently told me on why they don't date black women.
What have
And
they
it's
told you
not
about?
because, at
Because-
least they've told me, it's not because they can't handle it.
Right.
You know, the
right.
first point was black women are always angry
Uh-huh. Because
and
that's
complaining. Like
Yeah.
it's a look that's on their face.
true.
It's
Yeah, when they go to the side.
demeanor.
When they go to the side like this.
It's
when
it's
the
like
hand-
it's like it's an aggressive nature
Mm-hmm.
that pushes them away.
And what do you think?
See, I love
now-
that aggressive nature. I love that.
Black-
I love that attitude.
See, and that's
You know, in the Bible, it says, I don't want it if it's that easy.
Okay.
it says in the Bible.
That's I think that's a
thought
rap lyric.
Tupac said
I
it.
don't want it if it's that easy. Hey, yo, bust it. That's from I Get Around, though. Oh, same thing, right?
1993. No, but I like people whose attitude is well placed. I don't like combative situations.
Yeah.
And when did it get cute? But all right, think about it. Like, we can think about our grandmothers and and then trickled down to our mothers, and then what's going on now, whatever. But when do you think black women adopted anybody? When do you think black women adopted the idea that being argumentative or smirkish
that
is
came from
cute?
I think that's the
it
crack
never
era.
It never became from being cute. I think that one thing that's failed to be discussed, or at least thus far, or thought about, verbally discussed in this conversation, is where black women come from. And since we're talking about black women, like
a point
as far
that we're getting
as the
to.
transition of when it happened, when we become angry, when did we transition from, being a slave to now being in a situation where, as a woman, I couldn't really work. The man had to work, or at least they took the lead. For most situations, I did my house job, or he did his field job, or whatever. We're sharecropping. To now moving through the civil rights movement and staying home and taking care of the kids and doing these things where
So
there
when do you
wasn't
think
a
it
lot of
happened, though?
equality.
I think it happened in the
getting to
80s.
it. I'm getting to it.
Okay.
Grandma never
It
lost.
happened. It happened. It happened
Long-winded.
during, I say, the mid to late 70s through the 80s, and then especially in the 80s when sisters were doing it for themselves.
That's
like
because
literally,
niggas were in jail.
So like the ladies of the 80s.
not just because they were in jail.
I mean, because the crack
It wasn't-
epidemic
I
made
mean,
a
that-
lot of single
that
parent
was-
homes, right?
Well, actually, I mean, it's a negative connotation, but the positive connotation that I was thinking about is the fact that no longer did my grandmother have to sit at home and clean houses. She actually could go and be in the corporate environment and get a job and make money and be equally bringing in money that in the 40s and 50s she couldn't
That
do.
she couldn't
And then
do.
do you think that so how did that lead to her being, how do you think that led to the lady of the 80s
Being angry.
and
Well,
embracing
I think
that?
that the combination of what happened with the crack epidemic, but also the fact that there was now a less of a tolerance. Like, I know from me and my family, and I might get in trouble for saying this, like my grandfathers on both sides of my family, father and mother, cheated like shit on my grandmothers. Like, had babies, did whatever the hell they wanted to.
Right.
And my grandmothers at that time, in that time frame, as far as finances, they couldn't just up and leave with 10 kids or
But I don't
9
think that's
kids.
a black thing. I think
I
that
think
was
it's like a man thing.
America at
You
that
think
time.
it's
thing.
a man, but I think it's especially a black thing when you think about all the other things that happened after that. In addition to just being empowered as a woman, now you also have the crack epidemic and other things that have happened. But also, at the end of the day, regardless if I'm having the same transition as a white woman, she's still white and she's still getting more privilege and
Yeah.
more situations that are positive for her as a white woman than I am as a black
She
So
woman.
you
has
just felt
access to more.
culturally you